All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again to today's class. Today, we are discussing Domain 4. We continue with the discussion of Domain 4, which is network security. And we've discussed the key concepts before, CIA triad. We also talk about the network ports, the network OSI layers, TCP layers, and then the network devices, where we talk about the firewalls, IDS, IPS, and the rest. And today, we are starting with key data center terminologies. And on top of this key data center terminology is what we call rack unit. What is rack unit? Rack unit is this place where we provision or put our servers, our routers, our firewalls. Is the standard way of measuring the height of the equipment that fits into a server rack. That is rack unit. So 1 unit of rack unit is equivalent to 1.75 inches in height, which can be equated to about 4.45 centimeter. So if that is the case, the 2 units of 1 rack unit is going, the 2U of 1 rack unit will now be like 1.75 by 2. That's 3.5 inches tall. That's why when you see some switches, they tell you 2U. What does that mean? 2U is 2 units. It means 3.5 inches. That is the length of that equipment. So it's important for you to understand it that way. So this helps us to standardize how spaces the devices take inside our rack. Okay, you can see one rack. That rack, they tell you that this is 4U rack. That 4U rack, and how many devices can it take? It can take up to 2 devices if you have 2U units. If it is 1 unit, you can take up more than that, because in between the rack there is also spaces, because they are not stacked. You need to have space for ventilation in the rack unit. Now, the next thing we need to look at is the hold on. Any question on that before we continue? Okay, the next thing we are going to look at is the braid. Please confirm you can still see my screen. Yes, good. So the braid servers. What are the braid servers? Is a kind of server, but is slim. Is a modular server that you can slide in and slide out. So you can slide it inside a special enclosure, and that special enclosure is called chassis. All these things is just for knowledge sake, for you to understand. It's not that you are going to be carrying server, installing firewall. It's not your duty. Okay, it's just for you to understand how these things work. Now, instead of each server having its own power supply and cooling, multiple blades share the same chassis power and the cooling system and the networking. So if you have a braid server, is different from having Windows server separate, DNS server separate, and OS server separate. No, everything is in the one chassis. The only difference is that they are in slides, in modular. That is braid servers. So it will help you to save a lot of power, save a lot of space, save a lot of things. Then redundancy. Last time we talked about redundancy, and we said that we have so many ways we approach redundancy. It means having backup systems. You have backup for your power. You don't have only one source of power supply. You don't have only one source of network supply. You don't only have one source of cooling system, storage, and so on and so forth. So that if one fails, the other one takes over automatically. And I even went ahead to told us how I implemented the failover in our in Bloomberg, where I was the IT manager. We have failover. We have for internet for fiber, and we also have microwave. So redundancy is for you to make sure that you can be able to fail over when the other one fails, the high availability, and then it will help you to avoid downtime. That is redundancy. Then when we talk about hot and cold is a cooling strategy that is used in data center. So servers taking cold air, right, from the front, and then at the back, they push hot air at the back, just like the way our ACs work. So to manage airflow efficiently, we arrange our rack in alternating aside. So cold aside, the front of the server faces each other, blowing cold air to each other. The hot aside, the back of the server faces each other, blowing hot air to each other. So this prevents mixing of hot and cold air. It improves cooling efficiency. And of course, we know that it's going to help for easy management and cost lowering and the rest of it. So that is what this is all about. Then the next one we look at is cloud service model terminology. But before we continue with this, any question from anybody? Any question from anybody? Okay, there is
No, sir.
All right, so we continue. We are looking at software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. What is software as a service? Software as a service is when the cloud provider delivers ready-to-use software applications over the internet. What users just have to do is to just log in and use it. No need to install, no need to manage server, no need to update anything. The software is there for you. Just like the way we use our email, Gmail, Office 365, Dropbox, the way we are using this Zoom, Salesforce, all the applications you can just log in and use. It is the software that has been provided for you. Is that understandable? All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So for platform as a service, now here the cloud provider delivers a ready-made platform for developers to build, run, and deploy their applications. For platform, they will provide OS.
Come again. Sir.
Platform providers provides a ready-made platform for developers to build, to deploy the application, and also to run the application. That is platform as a service. The example is like Microsoft Azure Heroku, where people put their applications, Google App Engine, and so on. So this includes like servers, OS, database, dev tools. But here, You just focus on the code because the platform has been provided for you. You don't need to think about the OS. You are just building your application. The infrastructure has been provided. You are not managing the infrastructure. So that is platform as a service. Now, infrastructure as a service. The cloud provider here offers you the infrastructure. It visualizes computing resources. You are the one to choose the kind of storage you want, networking you want, the servers you want. You can configure your own infrastructure the way you want it. In this aspect, that is where you see like Amazon EC2, AWS, Google Compute Engine, Microsoft Azure, and so many platforms like that. So this one is for businesses that want flexibility. Like one of my portfolio company, HawkPay. This is what we use, infrastructure as a service. We configure it the way we want so that scalability can go on simultaneously when the users are growing. Currently, we are paying low, but once the users begin to grow, it scales automatically and we begin to pay higher. Because the infrastructure, we rented the by minimal, as we are growing, we are increasing it. So you have the ability to be able to do anything that you want to do. Your screen sharing is paused. All right. So,
hello. Please, can you expatiate? Hello.
Yes, I'm with you.
Can you expatiate a bit on the infrastructure? Is it concerning like office space or the infrastructure like providing you with server or providing you with the things you need to work? I just want
Okay.
to understand infrastructure, what it is referring to.
Okay, so thank you for that question. The infrastructure we are talking about here is the cloud infrastructure providing you with everything you need, the server, the network, the firewall, everything that you need. That is the infrastructure we are talking about for you to host and work on your applications. So you rent the infrastructure and you manage your own application, your OS. You are the one to install the kind of OS you want and everything. So it's not office, it's not where we go physically. It's in the cloud. It's
Okay.
the cloud infrastructure.
Okay,
all right.
Okay, I want to ask a question. Vercel app, is it a platform as a service or infrastructure as a service or software as a service?
If you say app,
Like
all
no,
of
not
them.
like Vercel. It's not an app. Vercel is like a domain.
Okay, Vercel.
Like
Yeah,
yes,
Vercel.
Vercel.
Vercel is a platform. Vercel is like Heroku, right? Do you know what
Yes,
is? Do
you're
you
right,
know
sir.
Heroku?
Vessel is like Heroku. It's under PaaS, platform as a service.
Yes, so that's what I'm telling you. Vercel is a platform, and in that platform, you come there to run your application, deploy your application you've built, right? So they provide a platform for you. It's different from the SaaS, which is a finished software to use. And it's also different from the IaaS, infrastructure as a service, which is the raw infrastructure you just rented. Because the PaaS, platform as a service, is a platform for you to build that app. So that is Vercel. Now we go over to designing a network, a secure network. What does it take to design a secure network? Last time we mentioned what is segmentation, what is zero trust, and also what is VPN. Anybody here who remembers them? Segmentation. All right. I talked about segmentation in the way that we divide our network into smaller parts, into segments, which is going to help us to control traffic and then be able to limit access. If we put it in different zones, segmentation, I mentioned how we did LAN zoning in Airtel. So segmentation is you divide the network into smaller parts. HR department, we have their own zone. Operations, we have their own zone. IT, we have their own zone. So you partition the network into smaller parts so that you can control it. It matters because when an attack gets into one part of the network is already segmentation, so you can stop the attack by isolating that segment. So if it is finance system, for instance, it will not be able to go to HR system. So the bridge in finance will stay only with finance. So if there is an attack in HR, it will not go to finance. That is segmentation. Now, zero
Sorry,
trust.
excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
Sorry, sir. Is segmentation similar to a subnet practice?
Yes. So is similar to subnet when you go into IP addressing.
So what is subnet? What is subnet?
Okay, it's the same thing we are talking about, partitioning. Subnet, partitioning. Subnet is grouping them into smaller parts. Okay, when you get into networking proper, you will be able to understand what is IP address, what is subnetting, and all that. Okay, so but just understand it now that it is grouping the network into smaller parts so you can be able to control the traffic and limit
Subnet
access.
is grouping the network into smaller parts so you can be to control it. Subnet is grouping the network into a smaller part. Okay. Don't forget to put it
Now, we go into zero trust. What is zero trust? Of course, the way the name implies, zero. Don't trust anybody. Never trust. Always verify. It's a security model. So, every user or device or app must prove who they are before you authenticate them. That is zero trust. Your application that you use, you can see when you want to log into HawkPay, it will ask you for your username and password or your PIN before you can be able to achieve that. Now, VPN. What is VPN? Virtual Private Network. As discussed earlier, is a secure way or a secure tunnel that we can be able to log into our network over an internet. I said that to use VPN to log into your office. The office creates your access and give you access to the VPN, which you can use to be able to log in. Then
Sorry. Can Maximilan mute because a lot of noise is coming from her.
I've muted it. So the example of a VPN, I've explained this before. An employee working from home connects to the office to get access to the server's applications at the office through VPN, because this ensures a secure communication. This ensures that data is protected. This ensures that there is no man in the middle attack. And VPN hides your IP and allows remote workers to securely access company system. Are we together?
Yes.
All right. So the final thing we will be looking at is the strategies for securing infrastructure. Strategy for securing infrastructure. And what are these strategies? One of these strategies is what? Patch management. Who can explain to me what is patch management?
I think it's like the process of doing software updates, patches of software patches, and the likes.
Exactly. So that is exactly what it is. Then the next thing are we together? Is everybody okay with that? Are we together? Patch management.
I did not even understand it, and I could not hear it very well.
Okay. All right. So let me explain it now. Patch management is just for us to apply updates to softwares. You use software, WhatsApp, everybody, and you hear when they say there is an update from version 1.2 to 1.3. That is patch management. You regularly applying those updates. And we do that to our applications as well, because it will fix security vulnerabilities, bugs, and even performance issues. The Hotpay we have launched, we have also done a patch management on it, and we will continue to do patch management. We continue to bring in software update, because users are requesting for this, requesting for that, and you see some vulnerabilities that you also need to be corrected from the former application. So that is what patch management does. It helps us to fix these security vulnerabilities, and also it is a way of updating our softwares to a newer version for better improvement. Are we together now?
Yes, sir.
Now, configuration hardening. Configuration hardening. Configuration hardening is like when you buy your phone newly. Your phone doesn't have a password. You begin to configure it. You begin to harden it. You repeat fingerprint. You put facial recognition. You put password. You put pattern. All these things are configuration hardening you are doing to the phone. And it's the same way we do it to the servers, firewall, routers, and switches. We do secure the system by reducing the vulnerabilities. So we do through proper configuration. So the first thing we do is that we disable unnecessary services that we don't need. Ports that is not opening in the switch, you disable them. The password is going to come with, we remove the default password, put our own password, and make sure we enforce strong access control to it. That is configuration hardening. So configuration hardening is to harden the system and make it more tough than the way it came with. Are we together on that? Are we together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Regular backup. Last time I mentioned how we used to do regular backup every week. I was the one even championing the West Opco regular backup. And I have to mandate these people to be sending their backup every Friday. And at the end of every quarter, we do what we call simulation to test that these backups also works. Because you can't be doing backup the day things will fail. You want to trace the backup, nothing happens. So backup creates copies of important data. And then, of course, you store them in a separate place. It can be off-site, on-site, in the cloud. I mentioned how during my days at Petrodata, Shell used to come to Petrodata to store their data there, off-site. That type of installation or backup is off-site backup. And it's not only in Petrodata they will put it, it will be scattered in different places in case if there is an issue, they will not lack the data. It will be available from different offsite this thing. Of course, on site, they will also have the backup. That's very sure. Now, this matters because it ensures recovery in case there is an attack, a ransomware attack, or there is a hardware failure. That is what regular backup does. There is a format for regular backup, which we call 3-2-1 rule. 3-2-1 rules means you have 3 copies of this data on 2 media types with 1 offsite copy. If you want to go extra mile, you can have multiple offsite copies. That is regular backup. Any question on that before we move on to another one? Final one, asset inventory. Asset inventory, just as the name implies, assets, what you do, what you own. Inventory, the record of what you own. So, is a complete record of all the hardware, software, and digital assets in an organization. Asset inventory is a complete record of all the hardware, softwares, and digital assets in an organization. It's very important to take asset inventory because you can't secure what you don't know that you have. It will help you to track vulnerability, even the ones you are going to patch, and then you can be compliant. For instance, the first thing we did when I joined IBM was for us to do asset inventory. We begin to check all the devices in the network. And funny enough, there are some devices we cannot log in because we don't have access to it. We can log in remotely. We have to go there physically to go and log in. That's why asset inventory is very important. You come into an organization, if you are the manager, you don't know what they own. You have to do it because keeping an updated list of all the information, servers, laptop, IoT devices is very, very, very important. That is asset inventory. So you can't secure what you don't know. You must know all the assets, all the things that they have, all the software, the hardware, and digital assets. Any question on that? All right. Okay, so this is where we stopping for today. Then we go over to, for those who want to register for their exams.
So I haven't registered yet.